She thought you'd always be there. No matter how many times she pushed you aside, how many times she ignored you, she believed you'd stay. Just one message, one apology, one weak effort to let her back in. But what she never realized is time isn't her friend. Time is ruthless. It doesn't heal wounds, it magnifies them. It doesn't erase mistakes, it forces us to live with them. And the longer she goes without you, the louder that silence becomes. The absence, the void, a space where you used to be, it becomes unbearable. At first, she won't notice. She'll carry on, distracted, thinking she made the right choice. But then, when she least expects it, regret hits. And it won't be gentle. The longer she waits, the harder it gets. The more she tries to ignore it, the heavier it becomes. And by the time she realizes what she lost, you'll be too far ahead to care. Now, let's talk about this, because I'm about to share something that will change everything. When we're done here, you'll never chase again. All right, if you're ready, let's get started. At first, she feels nothing. She thinks she's fine. She tells herself she made the right choice. Maybe she even feels relieved, convinced that walking away was the best decision. But time? Time is patient. Time is relentless. And time has a way of revealing the truth no one wants to face. She left without hesitation, without fear, without a second thought. Meanwhile, you felt it instantly, the emptiness, the confusion, the sting of being discarded like you never mattered. You wrestled with the silence, replayed the moments, questioned everything. But here's what she doesn't know. Time isn't done with her yet. Because most people think time heals everything, that if they stay away long enough, the regret will fade and they'll move on like nothing happened. But that's a lie. Time doesn't heal a loss. It makes it real. It forces people to sit with their choices, to wake up every day knowing they let something priceless slip away. At first, she doesn't notice. She's distracted. Maybe there's someone new. Maybe she fills her days with noise, with movement, with anything that keeps her from feeling the weight of what she did. But distractions don't last forever. The excitement wears off. The thrill fades. And then one day, she looks around and realizes something is missing. Something irreplaceable. That's when regret sets in. And when it does, it won't be soft. It won't be kind. It will hit her in the quiet moments, in the spaces where you used to be. She'll feel it when she scrolls past an old message and realizes she can't just reach out like she used to. She'll feel it when she hears your name and her stomach drops. She'll feel it when she's alone with her thoughts, and the reality she tried to ignore becomes impossible to escape. See, she thought she had control. She thought she could walk away and come back whenever she wanted. That you'd still be there, waiting, hoping, ready to let her back in with the slightest effort. But what she never expected, what she never even considered, was your silence, your absence, your complete and total indifference. And let me tell you something. Nothing haunts a person more than knowing they used to have access to you, and now they don't. At first, she thought she had time. She believed she could walk away, explore her options, play her little games, and whenever she was ready, you'd still be there. Waiting, hoping, just one message away. But time doesn't work like that. Time doesn't pause for anyone. And while she was off convincing herself she was fine, time was already working against her. At first, she doesn't feel it. Maybe even feels relieved. Maybe she tells herself she made the right choice. She fills the silence with distractions, with people, with anything that keeps her from facing the truth. But time is ruthless. It keeps moving. And every day that passes without you reaching out, without you checking in, without you showing any sign that you still care, The weight of her mistake grows heavier. The silence, the very same silence she once ignored, now starts to consume her. Imagine this. You're holding a balloon, gripping it tightly, confident that it will always be in your hand. Then, for whatever reason, you let go. At first it seems harmless. The balloon just floats away, rising higher and higher, slowly drifting out of reach. You don't think much of it. You assume you can grab it back whenever you want. But then, as time passes, you start to realize something. You can't reach it anymore. You stretch, you jump, you try to grab hold of it, but it's already too far gone. That's exactly how it works when someone loses you. At first, she doesn't panic. She assumes she still has control, that if she ever starts to miss you, all she has to do is reach out and you'll come running. But as the days turn into weeks, as the silence stretches longer than she expected, that confidence starts to crack. What if she was wrong? What if she really lost you? What if you're not waiting? And that's when the fear kicks in. She starts second-guessing herself. She starts checking her phone, scrolling through old messages, looking for any sign that you still care. But there's nothing. Just silence, just distance, just the reality she never thought she'd have to face. And once that regret takes hold, it never lets go. Because the longer she waits, the harder it gets. The longer she stays silent, the more she realizes she may have waited too long. And nothing is more terrifying than realizing the door you thought would always be open is now locked forever. Nothing haunts a person more than a door that suddenly closes forever. She thought she had all the time in the world, that no matter how many times she ignored you, no matter how careless she was with your presence, you'd always be there. A quick text away, a late-night call away, a half-hearted apology away from letting her back in. She thought she could walk in and out of your life as she pleased, until one day she turned around, and the door was locked. At first, she doesn't notice. She carries on, distracted by her own selfishness, too caught up in herself to realize what's slipping away. She assumes you're still there, still waiting, still hoping. But time is working against her, and slowly, something starts to feel off. The predictable comfort of knowing you're there, gone. The security of knowing you'd always pick up, always care, always fight for her, gone. And suddenly, for the first time, she realizes she has no idea what's going on in your life. She scrolls through her phone, expecting to see your name. Silence. She checks your social media, assuming you're still watching, still lingering in the background. But you're not. She replays old messages, old memories, searching for reassurance that she still has access to you. But the more she searches, the more she realizes she doesn't. And that, my friends, is when the obsession begins. At first, it's just a thought, a passing curiosity. Then it becomes a late-night check, a quick scroll, a moment of weakness where she almost reaches out but stops herself. But the more time passes, the more that curiosity turns into frustration, then into doubt, then into fear. Because human nature is cruel. We don't value what's easy to get. We crave what we can't have. And when she realizes she can no longer reach you, when she understands that you're no longer within her grasp, that's when she starts to feel it. The regret, the longing, the loss. Because your absence is no longer just an inconvenience. It's a void. A question she can't answer. A door she never thought would close. And now the one thing she took for granted is the only thing she can't stop thinking about. Right now she's pretending, acting like she doesn't care, like losing you was no big deal. She posts, she smiles, she puts on a show, laughing a little louder, looking a little happier, making sure the world sees what she wants them to see. But here's the thing about time. It doesn't let anyone escape the truth. At first, she's surrounded by distractions. Maybe it's someone new, maybe it's late nights out, maybe it's anything that keeps her from sitting still long enough to feel what's really there. She convinces herself she made the right choice, that she was never meant to stay, that you were too much or not enough, or that someone else will make her forget. But time doesn't erase real connections. It magnifies them. Because distractions don't last forever. The excitement fades, the attention wears off. The nights that once felt thrilling start to feel empty. And when the noise dies down, when there's no one left to impress, she's left with nothing but her own choices. And trust me, that's when the truth starts to hurt. She starts to notice the little things. The way no one else listens to her the way you did. The way no one else understands her the way you did. The way every moment with someone new feels forced, hollow, like she's trying to convince herself she's moved on, when deep down, she knows she hasn't. She thought she could replace you. Thought she could fill the space where you used to be with someone else. But time has a way of proving people wrong. Because no matter how deep she dives into distractions, no matter how much she tries to ignore it, she keeps coming back to one simple, undeniable truth. No one else is you. And once she realizes that, once she understands what she lost, there's no escaping it. Because time doesn't let people forget. It makes them remember. And now, no matter how much she pretends, no matter how hard she tries to act like she's fine, she knows. She knows she made a mistake. And the worst part? She knows it's too late to fix it. She thought she had time. She thought she could put you on pause, walk away, and whenever she felt like it, press play again, like nothing happened. But time doesn't wait. And when time ran out, she started to feel it. At first it's small. A simple hey, a how have you been? Maybe even a random comment on your post, something meaningless, something casual. But don't be fooled, she's not just reaching out, she's checking, testing, looking for proof that she still has access to you, that you're still there, that she still holds a place in your mind the way you once did in hers. And this is where the power shifts. Because the moment you reply, the moment you acknowledge her, even in the smallest way, you give her exactly what she wants. Not love, not reconciliation, just reassurance. Confirmation that she can still pull you back with minimal effort. And once she knows that, the regret she was starting to feel, it disappears. The fear of losing you, gone. The coldness she was just beginning to experience, instantly replaced by the comfort of knowing she still has you right where she left you. But when you don't respond, when her message sits unanswered, her call ignored, her comment unacknowledged, that's when she truly starts to suffer. Because now, for the first time, she doesn't know where she stands. The control she thought she had slips through her fingers. She starts checking her phone more often, wondering if she missed your response, refreshing her messages, scrolling through old conversations, trying to make sense of your silence. She tells herself she doesn't care, but deep down, the doubt starts creeping in. And this doubt, it grows. It turns into frustration, then confusion, then something even worse. Panic. Because what if you're actually gone? What if you're really moving on? What if, for the first time ever, she lost access to you completely? That's when it hits her. The same coldness she once gave you is now the very thing she's drowning in. And the longer your silence lasts, the more unbearable it becomes. Because nothing feels colder than realizing someone you once had no longer cares if you're there. You don't need to explain your absence. Let time do the talking. See, when you argue, when you explain, when you try to make her understand, you give her closure. You give her an easy way out. You make it simple for her to walk away without regret, because she gets to hear your pain, your frustration, your side of the story. She gets to know that she mattered, that even in leaving, she still had an impact. But when you disappear, when you walk away without a word, that's when it starts to mess with her mind. Because now, she doesn't know. She doesn't know if you're angry, if you're hurt, if you still care, or if you've already forgotten her. And nothing eats at a person more than the unknown. Because the mind is cruel. It fills in the blanks with fear, with doubt, with worst-case scenarios. At first, she convinces herself she doesn't care, that you'll eventually reach out, that you'll break before she does. But then days turn into weeks, and your silence stretches longer than she ever expected. That's when it begins. The overthinking, the questioning, the slow unraveling of her confidence. She starts wondering if she misread the situation, if maybe you were never as attached as she thought, if maybe, just maybe, she was the one who was replaceable. And that thought? That's what drives her crazy. Because people don't fear losing what they know they can get back. They fear losing something that's gone. Something that slipped through their fingers before they even realized they were reaching for it. And right now, she's reaching. Searching for a sign, for a reaction, for anything that tells her she still has a place in your life. But there's nothing. Just silence. Just distance. Just the growing fear that she may have made the biggest mistake of her life. And that's the beauty of it. You didn't have to say a word. Your silence did what words never could. She expected you to fall apart. She thought leaving you would break you. She assumed you'd sit in the wreckage, questioning your worth, stuck in the past, waiting for the day she decided to return. She never imagined that walking away would be the best thing that ever happened to you. At first, she didn't notice. She was too busy distracting herself, too caught up in her own world to realize that you weren't just surviving, you were evolving. While she was looking back, you were moving forward. While she was seeking validation, you were building strength. And time, the very thing she thought would make her forget you, was slowly making her see the truth. Because the more time passes, the more she starts to see what she lost. She expected you to remain the same, frozen in the moment she left you. But now, she looks at you and sees someone different. Someone stronger. Someone wiser. Someone she no longer recognizes, because you're no longer waiting. And that's when it hits her. The slow, creeping realization that the person she once had is gone forever. Nothing is more painful than watching someone you took for granted become someone you can never have again. And that's exactly what's happening. Because now, when she looks at you, she doesn't see the version of you who once begged for her attention. She doesn't see the person who waited, who hoped, who held space for her return. She sees the person she underestimated, the one who used her absence as fuel, who turned heartbreak into power, who became everything she never thought you would. And now, the worst part? She knows she doesn't deserve you anymore. She knows that even if she tried to come back, she wouldn't be stepping into the same story. She'd be standing in front of someone she no longer has access to. And that realization, that's what truly breaks her. One day she'll look for you, and she won't find you. At first, she won't notice. She'll carry on, keeping you in the back of her mind like a song she thinks she'll always remember. She assumes you'll always be there, somewhere in the background, waiting, lingering, just one message away. She tells herself that if she ever wants to, she can come back. But then, out of nowhere, it hits. Maybe it's a song that reminds her of you. Maybe it's a random thought at 2 a.m. Maybe she sees you smiling, thriving, looking better than ever. Maybe she hears your name from someone else's lips and suddenly, for the first time, it feels unfamiliar, like she's talking about a stranger. That's when it happens. That's when the sinking, inescapable regret sets in. Because now, she sees it clearly. She had you. She had something real. And she let it go, thinking she had time, thinking she had control. But time has proven her wrong. The door she thought would always be open is locked. The person she thought would always wait is gone. And the worst part? You didn't move on to punish her. You didn't disappear to teach her a lesson. You just lived. You just became more. You just kept walking forward, and somewhere along the way, you left her behind. And now, no matter how badly she wishes she could turn back time, no matter how much she wants another chance, she knows she won't get one. Because by the time she realizes what she lost, you'll be too far ahead to care. Time is the greatest teacher. It doesn't grant second chances. It forces us to face what we've ignored and reveals the truth we can't outrun. She thought she had forever, that you'd always be there. But time doesn't work that way. It only magnifies regret. One day she'll reach for you, expecting things to be as they were. But you won't be there. Not because you're bitter, not because you want revenge, but because you've grown beyond her reach. You've learned that someone who truly valued you would never risk losing you in the first place. So stay strong, stay focused, keep moving forward. Never wait for someone who thought you were replaceable. If she lost you, that's her burden to carry, not yours. You don't need to chase, you just need to keep evolving. Let your growth speak for itself. Thanks for being with Stoic Heart on this journey today. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our latest videos. We'd love to hear your thoughts or suggestions for future topics, so drop a comment below. See you in the next video.